Chosen one, pause for a moment and truly feel what is happening inside you right now. There is a subtle pressure in your chest, a quiet pull in your spirit that refuses to be ignored, and you know deep down this is not random. This is not coincidence. Tonight is not just another passing moment in your life. It is a threshold, a crossing, a sacred point, written long before you ever took your first breath. The universe has been guiding you here through every delay, every heartbreak, every confusing detour that once made no sense. It was all aligning you to this exact moment. And now, the energy is shifting in a way that cannot be reversed. A new timeline is opening before you. But listen carefully, because this is where most people fail without even realizing it. This is where destinies quietly collapse. There is one mistake, just one, that can sever your connection to this new path before it fully begins, and you must not make it. Now here's something you need to understand, something most people overlook when they stand at the edge of transformation like this. Alignment is not just spiritual, it is practical. The universe doesn't just shift your energy, it gives you tools, guidance, and structure to hold that new reality. And right now, one of those tools has just been placed in your path. You didn't come across this moment by accident, and you didn't come across this knowledge by accident either. There is a newly released audiobook titled 7 Habits of Highly Successful People That Can Make You Rich. But don't misunderstand the word rich. This is not just about money. This is about alignment, discipline, mindset, and the energetic patterns that separate those who stay stuck from those who step into abundance across every level of life. If you are serious about stepping into this new timeline, then you must not only awaken, you must stabilize that awakening with action. This audiobook acts as a bridge between the inner shift you're feeling and the outer life you are meant to build. The link is waiting for you in the description and in the first pinned comment. And here's the truth most won't say out loud. Those who are truly ready don't hesitate when the right tools appear. They recognize them. So before we go deeper, if you can feel even a spark of truth in what's being said, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Not for me, but because your action signals alignment. It tells the universe, I'm ready. And readiness is everything right now, because what's coming next will test you. There is something unfolding beneath the surface of your reality, something you may not be able to see with your physical eyes, yet your soul recognizes it instantly. An invisible door has appeared, and it is not a door that opens with logic or force. It does not respond to effort in the way you have been taught to understand effort. It responds only to frequency, your inner state, your awareness, your alignment with what you already know deep within. Right now, that door is vibrating at a level that only a few can truly perceive, and that is why you are here, drawn to this moment, to this message. Chosen ones are never told directly. They feel it first. They sense it before it becomes visible. And you have been sensing it, haven't you? That restlessness, that quiet knowing that something is about to change, not just around you, but within you. The door is not asking you to try harder. It is asking you to become more aware. But here is the danger. If you hesitate, if you begin to doubt what you already feel, the door does not argue or wait for you to decide. It closes silently, and the timeline you were meant to step into continues forward without you. You may find yourself wondering why this is happening now, why everything seems to be shifting at this exact point in your life. And the answer is deeper than you think. You are no longer the version of yourself that could survive the old timeline you once inhabited. The patterns you tolerated, the cycles you repeated, the emotional weight you carried, they no longer match your frequency, and the universe does not allow that kind of misalignment to continue forever. It corrects, and this moment is that correction taking place. Everything that felt like it was falling apart recently was not destruction, even if it felt painful or confusing. It was recalibration. Certain pieces had to break so that a new structure could hold, one that aligns with who you are becoming. But this is not only about your personal life. This is about your role, your position in a much larger unfolding that extends beyond what you can currently see. You are not stepping into something small or temporary. You are stepping into a version of reality that requires precision, and precision demands awareness. In every thought, every choice, and every reaction you allow to guide you. Now the message sharpens, and you need to listen closely, because this is where everything can shift in an instant. There is one mistake that has the power to ruin this entire transition for you, not forever, but long enough to delay what is meant to arrive in your life. That mistake is doubt disguised as logic. It does not come loudly or aggressively. It whispers in a voice that feels familiar and reasonable. It tells you to wait, to be realistic, to avoid getting your hopes too high. It presents itself as intelligence, as caution, as wisdom. But in truth, it is fear trying to regain control over your path. Fear cannot cross into this new timeline, and the moment you begin to believe that voice, instead of simply observing it, you lower your frequency just enough to miss the doorway that is opening for you. The universe does not argue with you when this happens. It does not try to convince you otherwise. It simply responds to the choice you made, and it gives you more of the timeline you unconsciously selected in that moment. The heaviness you have been feeling lately, that strange combination of exhaustion and anticipation, that emotional intensity that seems to rise without warning. It is not in your head. It is the pressure of transition, the energetic weight of moving from one timeline into another. When shifts like this occur, your energy field stretches, and old identities begin to dissolve, whether you are ready or not. You may feel disconnected from certain people, certain places, even from parts of yourself that once felt familiar. This is not loss, even though it may feel like something is slipping away. It is separation from what can no longer follow you into the next phase of your life. But here is where the challenge becomes real. During this phase, your mind will try to pull you backward into what it knows, into what feels familiar, even if that familiarity was painful or limiting. And if you return, even for a moment, you anchor yourself back into the old timeline you were meant to leave behind. This is why awareness is everything right now, because you are not meant to go back. Chosen one, this path you are walking was never designed to be comfortable or predictable. You were not created to blend into the noise of the world or to follow a rhythm that numbs your soul and keeps you small. You were designed to feel deeply, to question what others accept without thinking, and to sense what exists beneath the surface of reality. That sensitivity you once saw as a weakness, the very thing that made you feel different, is actually your compass. It is what allows you to detect shifts before they happen and to recognize truth before it becomes obvious. It is what brought you here to this exact moment, listening to these words. But sensitivity without discipline can become distraction, and distraction is another doorway that leads you back to the old timeline you are trying to leave behind. Right now, you must sharpen your awareness, not by forcing control or resisting everything you feel, but by observing everything, your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses, without immediately reacting to them. Because the next step in your journey requires clarity that cannot exist in a distracted mind. The truth that most people will not realize until it is too late is that the shift has already begun. This is not something waiting in the future or something that will suddenly arrive without warning. The first signal has already moved through your life, and it may have come in a way you almost overlooked. It could have been an unexpected change, a sudden realization, or even a quiet moment where everything felt slightly different without any clear reason. That was the invitation, subtle yet powerful. Invitations like this do not repeat endlessly. They evolve and move forward, whether you are ready or not. If you recognized it, even for a brief moment, then you are already in motion, already aligning with the new timeline that is unfolding. But if you ignored it or dismissed it as nothing, the path does not disappear. It simply becomes harder to see, more hidden behind layers of distraction and doubt. This is why what you do next matters more than anything that has happened before, because in the next phase, the illusion becomes stronger, and only those who remain aware will continue forward. As you move closer to this new timeline, something unexpected begins to happen, something that catches many chosen ones off guard because it feels like everything is moving in the wrong direction. The illusion intensifies. The old reality, the one you are meant to leave behind, does not fade quietly. It grows louder, heavier, more convincing. Situations may suddenly feel more chaotic. People may test your patience in ways they never did before, and doubts may appear with a strength that feels almost unnatural. This is not a sign that you are off track. This is confirmation that you are exactly where you need to be. The old timeline is attempting to hold you, to anchor you back into what is familiar, because familiarity is its strongest weapon. But you must understand this clearly. What feels real in this moment is not always truth. The illusion gains power only when you react to it without awareness. The moment you observe it without attachment, it begins to lose its grip, and that is where your power quietly returns. There is something deeper happening now, something that goes beyond surface-level experiences. Your reactions are being measured, not by an external force judging you, but by the universe responding to your frequency in real time. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you choose to hold on to, every impulse you act on, it all sends a signal. And right now, those signals carry more weight than ever before. This is not about being perfect. It is about being aware. When you react unconsciously, when you allow fear, frustration, or doubt to take control, you align yourself with the old timeline that feeds on those frequencies. But when you pause, when you observe, when you choose consciously, instead of reacting automatically, you shift yourself closer to the new path that is opening. This is why small moments matter right now more than big decisions. Because the timeline is not shaped in grand gestures, it is shaped in quiet, unseen choices that most people overlook. At this stage, the past does not disappear. It calls out to you with a strange intensity. Memories may resurface unexpectedly, old relationships may reappear, and situations you thought you had moved beyond may suddenly return. It may feel like unfinished business, like something needs to be resolved or revisited, but you must be careful. Not everything that returns is meant to be reclaimed. Some things return as tests, not opportunities. The old timeline knows your patterns. It knows where you once felt comfortable, even if that comfort came with pain, and it will use that familiarity to try to pull you back in. If you respond without awareness, if you step back into those old emotions, those old reactions, you reinforce the very reality you are trying to leave behind. But if you see it for what it truly is, a final attempt to hold you, you create distance. And in that distance, something powerful happens. You break the pattern, and the timeline loses its ability to reach you. While everything around you may feel louder, more intense, more demanding of your attention, there is a quiet power that most people overlook, and that power is silence. Not just the absence of sound, but the absence of reaction. The ability to observe without immediately responding. The strength to feel without being consumed by what you feel. This is your hidden advantage right now. When you remain silent internally, when you do not rush to explain, justify, or defend yourself, you step outside the emotional traps that the old timeline relies on. Silence allows you to see clearly. It creates space between you and the illusion, and in that space, your awareness expands. You begin to notice patterns you once missed, triggers that no longer control you, and choices that feel different than before. This is not weakness. This is mastery in its earliest form, and it is essential for what is coming next. There is a misconception that during moments like this, you are being judged, that every action you take is being evaluated as right or wrong by some external force. But that is not what is happening. The universe is not watching you to judge you. It is responding to you. It mirrors your state, your energy, your level of awareness. If you move in fear, it reflects more uncertainty. If you move in clarity, it reflects alignment. There is no punishment, only feedback. This is why your internal state matters more than your external actions. You can say the right words, make the right moves, and still remain in the old timeline if your inner world is rooted in doubt or fear. But when your inner state shifts, even slightly, your external reality begins to reorganize itself in ways you cannot always predict. This is the law you are stepping into now, and it operates with precision, whether you are aware of it or not. You may feel like you still have time, like this shift is something that will unfold gradually, giving you space to figure everything out. But the truth is, the moment of decision is closer than you think. It does not arrive with a loud announcement or a clear sign that cannot be ignored. It arrives quietly, in a moment that feels almost ordinary, a choice you make without realizing its weight, a reaction you allow without questioning it. That is where timelines split, not in dramatic events, but in subtle decisions that seem small at first. This is why you must stay present, because when that moment comes, you will not have time to overthink. You will act based on your current level of awareness, and that action will determine whether you step forward or remain where you are. This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to sharpen your focus, to bring you fully into the now, where your power exists, despite everything that feels uncertain, despite the intensity, the confusion, the emotional weight that may rise at unexpected times. You are closer than you realize, closer to the shift, closer to the new timeline, closer to the version of yourself that once felt out of reach. The distance you feel is not real. It is created by the mind trying to understand something that cannot be fully explained, but your soul already knows. It has always known. That is why you feel this pull, this quiet certainty beneath the noise. You are not chasing something outside of you. You are aligning with something that has always been within you, waiting for the moment you were ready to see it clearly. And that moment is now. But the next phase will require even deeper awareness, because what comes next will not only test your clarity, it will reveal the truth of who you have become. Chosen one, you are now entering what can only be described as the mirror phase, a space where everything around you begins to reflect something within you, whether you are ready to see it or not. This phase is not gentle, and it is not meant to comfort you. It is meant to reveal. People may act in ways that trigger you unexpectedly. Situations may unfold that seem unfair or confusing, and emotions you thought you had already healed may rise again with surprising intensity. But none of this is random. This is the universe placing a mirror in front of you, showing you what still exists beneath the surface. Not to punish you, but to free you. Because anything that remains unseen cannot be released. The danger here is misinterpretation. If you believe these reflections are external attacks, you will react, and reaction pulls you back into the old timeline. But if you recognize them as reflections, as opportunities to see clearly without attachment, something shifts. You stop resisting, and in that moment, the mirror loses its power over you. What you feel right now matters more than what you think. Emotional triggers are not interruptions in your path. They are gateways hidden in plain sight. Every surge of frustration, every wave of sadness, every moment of doubt carries a message, a signal, pointing towards something that still needs your awareness. Most people run from these feelings or try to suppress them, believing that strength means control. But true strength in this phase is presence. It is the ability to sit with what arises without immediately trying to fix it, escape it, or project it onto someone else. When you allow yourself to feel without reacting, the energy begins to move, instead of staying trapped. And as it moves, clarity emerges. You begin to see the pattern behind the emotion, the root beneath the reaction. This is where transformation happens, not in avoiding discomfort, but in moving through it with awareness. And every time you do this, you align more deeply with the new timeline that is opening before you. Now, you can begin to see it more clearly, the one mistake that has the power to delay everything that is meant for you. It is not a single action, not one dramatic decision that changes everything instantly. It is a pattern, a subtle, repeated shift away from awareness into reaction. It begins when you identify with your thoughts instead of observing them, when you believe every doubt that passes through your mind, when you allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent choices. This mistake is dangerous because it feels natural, it feels familiar, it feels like you are simply being yourself. But the version of yourself that reacts without awareness belongs to the old timeline. And every time you fall back into that pattern, you reinforce that version of reality. The shift you are being called into requires something different. It requires you to see the thought without becoming it, to feel the emotion without being controlled by it, and to choose from a place of clarity rather than impulse. This is the difference between moving forward and staying where you are. As you move deeper into this phase, understand this clearly. The test will not announce itself. It will not come with a sign telling you that this is the moment that matters. It will look like an ordinary situation, something you have experienced many times before. A conversation, a decision, a reaction that feels automatic. And that is exactly why it is powerful, because you will not realize its significance unless you are fully present. The universe does not test you to see if you fail. It presents opportunities to see if you have truly changed. And change is not proven in what you say you understand. It is proven in what you do when faced with the same pattern again. If you respond the same way, the timeline remains the same. If you respond differently, even in the smallest way, you shift. This is how transformation happens, not through grand declarations, but through quiet, conscious choices made in moments that seem insignificant at first. Right now, you may feel like you are standing between two versions of your life, and in many ways, that is exactly what is happening. One reality feels familiar, predictable, and heavy with patterns you already understand. The other feels uncertain, undefined, and almost invisible, yet it carries a sense of expansion that you cannot ignore. This tension between the two can feel uncomfortable, even overwhelming at times, because your mind seeks stability while your soul seeks growth. The old timeline pulls you with comfort and familiarity, while the new timeline pulls you with possibility and alignment. And you are in the space between, where neither feels fully solid. This is not a place of confusion. It is a place of transition. But the longer you stay undecided, the stronger the pull of the old timeline becomes, because it requires less awareness. The new timeline requires presence, intention, and trust. And that is where most people hesitate. You may believe that trust means having certainty, having clear answers, knowing exactly what will happen next. But that is not the kind of trust this moment requires. True trust in this phase is the ability to move forward without needing everything to make sense. It is the willingness to follow what you feel, even when your mind cannot fully explain it. Trust is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision not to let doubt control your actions. And this is where many chosen ones struggle, because they have been taught to rely on logic above all else, to seek proof before they move. But this shift does not operate on proof. It operates on alignment. You will not be shown the full path before you take the first step. You will be shown just enough to move, and then more will be revealed as you continue. This is how the new timeline unfolds, one aligned step at a time. You can feel it now, even if you cannot fully explain it. Something is building, something is approaching, and it carries a weight that feels different from anything before. This is the final phase before the shift completes, and it is where everything comes together. The awareness you have been developing, the patterns you have been seeing, the choices you have been making, they all converge here. This is not the time to relax your awareness or assume that the hardest part is over. This is the moment where everything sharpens, where clarity becomes essential. Because what happens next will determine whether you fully step into the new timeline or remain partially connected to the old one. And partial alignment is still misalignment. The next segment of your journey will reveal what must be released completely, not just understood. And that release will require everything you have learned so far. Chosen one, this is where the message becomes undeniable. You cannot carry everything with you into this new timeline. Some things are not meant to be healed, repaired, or understood further. They are meant to be released completely. And this is where many hesitate, because release feels like loss when you are still emotionally attached. But understand this clearly. What you are being asked to let go of is not aligned with where you are going. It may be a belief you've held onto for years, a connection that once felt meaningful, or a version of yourself that you've outgrown but still recognize. The weight of it may feel familiar, even comforting in a strange way, but it is no longer supportive. If you try to carry it forward, it will slow your movement, distort your clarity, and pull you back into patterns that no longer serve your growth. Release is not abandonment, it is alignment. It is the conscious decision to no longer hold on to what cannot evolve with you. And the moment you truly let go, without hesitation or hidden attachment, you create space for something that actually belongs in your new reality. As you approach this release, do not be surprised if fear rises in a way that feels stronger than anything you have experienced so far. This is not a setback. This is a final response from the old timeline trying to maintain its hold on you. Fear will present itself in convincing ways, making you question your decisions, your direction, even your worthiness for what is coming. It may tell you that you are making a mistake, that you are losing something important, that you should wait just a little longer before letting go. But this is where your awareness must remain steady. Fear does not mean you are going in the wrong direction. It often means you are moving beyond what once controlled you. The intensity of the fear is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that something significant is about to shift. If you give in to it, you reinforce the old pattern. But if you move through it with awareness, without allowing it to dictate your actions, it begins to dissolve. And what remains on the other side is clarity that cannot be shaken. You may feel it now more than ever, a sense that you are no longer who you used to be, but not yet fully who you are becoming. This in-between space can feel disorienting, like you are losing your sense of identity without having a new one to replace it. But this is not confusion. This is transformation. Your old identity was built on experiences, patterns, and beliefs that are no longer aligned with your current frequency. And as those foundations dissolve, so does the version of you that was shaped by them. This process is not meant to be rushed. It is meant to be witnessed. Because the more you try to hold on to who you were, the more resistance you create within yourself. But when you allow the dissolution to happen, when you accept that you are changing at a core level, something powerful begins to emerge. Not a forced identity, not a constructed version of who you think you should be, but something authentic, something that feels natural, without effort. And that is what belongs in the new timeline. You might expect that stepping into a new timeline would feel dramatic, that there would be a clear moment where everything shifts all at once and you instantly know that something has changed. But the truth is, alignment is often quiet. It happens in a moment that feels almost ordinary, where nothing around you seems different. Yet everything within you has shifted. It is the moment you choose not to react the way you used to. The moment you feel a sense of calm, where there was once chaos. The moment you realize that something that once triggered you no longer has the same effect. These moments may seem small, but they are not. They are the exact points where timelines change. And if you overlook them, if you dismiss them as insignificant, you miss the depth of what is actually happening. Alignment does not need to be loud to be powerful. In fact, the most profound shifts often happen in silence, in stillness, in awareness that does not need validation from the outside world. Before anything changes around you, it changes within you. This is a law that cannot be bypassed. The new timeline does not arrive externally for you to step into. It begins as an internal shift that gradually reshapes your reality. This is why some people remain stuck even when opportunities are presented to them, because their inner state has not aligned with what they are trying to receive. But you are different. You are becoming aware of this process as it unfolds. You are beginning to see that your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions are not just responses to reality, they are shaping it. And as your inner world shifts, your external world begins to reorganize itself in ways that may feel subtle at first, but become more noticeable over time. This is not coincidence. This is alignment taking form. But it requires consistency. It requires you to remain aware, even after the initial shift, because the new timeline must be maintained, not just entered. No one else can make this choice for you. No one else can step into this new timeline on your behalf. This is your path, your alignment, your moment. And while guidance may appear, while signs may point you in certain directions, the decision ultimately comes down to you. Will you remain aware, even when it feels uncomfortable? Will you choose alignment, even when it requires letting go of what feels familiar? Will you trust what you feel, even when it does not fully make sense? These are not questions you need to answer out loud. They are questions that will be answered through your actions, through the choices you make in moments that no one else sees. This is where your power exists, not in what you say you believe, but in how you move when faced with uncertainty. And that movement will determine everything that follows. This is it, chosen one. The moment you have been moving toward, whether you realized it or not. Tonight is not just symbolic, it is energetic. It is the point where everything you have been experiencing begins to converge into a single direction. The new timeline is not waiting somewhere in the distance. It is here, now, unfolding with every thought, every emotion, every decision you allow to shape your reality. But remember the warning, the one that has been present from the beginning. The mistake is not failure, it is unconsciousness. It is the moment you stop observing, the moment you fall back into patterns without awareness, the moment you allow fear or doubt to take control without questioning it. Avoid that, and you move forward. Give in to it, and you delay what is already trying to reach you. The shift is happening, whether you are ready or not. But your experience of it, that depends entirely on you. Chosen one, understand this with absolute clarity. The portal is open right now, but it will not remain open forever. This is not meant to create fear within you, but to awaken urgency. Opportunities like this do not linger endlessly, waiting for you to feel completely ready, completely certain, completely free of doubt. That moment never comes. The portal responds to who you are, being right now, not who you are hoping to become someday. It is alive, responsive, and precise, and it is reading your energy in real time. If you remain aware, if you stay present within yourself, if you move with intention instead of reaction, the path reveals itself naturally. But if you drift back into unconscious patterns, if you allow distractions, fear, or hesitation to take over, the portal does not resist you. It simply closes, and the opportunity passes into another phase. Not gone, but no longer as accessible. This is why this moment matters so deeply, because you are not waiting for the shift. You are standing inside it. There is something you must prepare yourself for, something that may feel unfamiliar at first, even though it is exactly what you have been moving toward. The life waiting for you on the other side of this shift does not feel the same as the one you are leaving behind. It is not driven by chaos, urgency, or emotional extremes. It carries a different rhythm, one that feels grounded, clear, and aligned in a way that may almost feel too calm at first. Many people mistake this calm for emptiness because they have become so used to intensity that peace feels unfamiliar. But this is not emptiness. This is stability. This is what it feels like when you are no longer being pulled in multiple directions by conflicting energies. The noise fades, the confusion dissolves, and what remains is clarity that does not need constant validation. This is the space where your true path begins to unfold, not through force, but through alignment. And the more you allow yourself to settle into this new frequency, the more natural it becomes. There will come a moment, not immediately, but soon after you fully step into alignment, where you will feel it without needing to question it. A quiet certainty will rise within you, one that does not seek approval or reassurance from anything outside of you. You will begin to notice that things feel different, not because everything around you has dramatically changed, but because your perception has shifted. Situations that once drained you no longer carry the same weight. Decisions that once felt complicated become simple. You move with a sense of ease that does not need to be forced. And in that space, you will realize something powerful. You did not lose anything by stepping forward. You only released what was no longer meant for you. This realization does not come as a sudden revelation. It unfolds gradually, strengthening over time, until it becomes undeniable. And once you reach that point, there is no desire to go back, because you can clearly see the difference between where you were and where you are now. Before you even questioned whether you were ready, before the doubt, before the hesitation, before those quiet moments where you almost convinced yourself to stay where you were, the universe had already said yes to you. Yes to your expansion. Yes to your alignment. Yes to the path that is now unfolding in front of you with undeniable precision. You were never being tested to see if you were worthy. You were being guided to see if you were willing to release what no longer resonates, willing to trust what you feel even when it cannot be explained, willing to move forward without needing certainty to hold your hand. And now you are here, at the edge of something that was always meant for you. But understand this: awakening is only the beginning. Stepping into a new timeline requires more than awareness. It requires structure, discipline, consistency, the kind of grounded habits that allow your new frequency to become your permanent reality. And this is where many chosen ones lose momentum, not because they are not meant for more, but because they do not anchor their transformation into daily action. That is why this moment matters even beyond this message, because right now you have access to something that can help you stabilize everything you are stepping into. The audiobook, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People That Can Make You Rich, is not just about success in the material sense. It is about rewiring the patterns, the discipline, and the mindset that align you with abundance in every form. It bridges the gap between who you are becoming and how you live that reality every single day. This is not random. If you are hearing this now, it has appeared in your path for a reason. The link is waiting for you in the description and in the first pinned comment. And those who are truly ready won't ignore what is placed directly in front of them. Chosen one, if you have stayed until this moment, then something within you already knows. This was not just a message, it was a reminder, a confirmation, a call to step into what has been waiting for you all along. The new timeline is not separate from you. It is responding to you, aligning with you, moving as you move. And now, the choice is yours to fully claim it. If this resonated with you, if you felt the truth in these words, even for a moment, take that as your sign.